Lorna Byrne is truly extraordinary. She was born in 1953 in Dublin into a family that struggled financially, growing up under harsh conditions in the city outskirts. On top of that, Lorna is severely dyslexic. As a child, her learning disability was incorrectly deemed mental retardation, and as a result she never finished primary school. These severe disadvantages were more than offset by an astounding gift. From her earliest memory, Lorna possessed the ability to see and communicate with angels. Thankfully, she was told by them to keep this ability secret, otherwise she would have likely been institutionalized. Although she could neither read nor write, angels told her that she would someday write a book about them and it would be read worldwide. Despite her incredulity and protestations that she couldn't read or write, she was assured that she would be given help at the appropriate time. She married and had 4 children. As foretold by her angels, her husband was not to live long. He died in the year 2000 when their youngest child was only 4. She never revealed her secret, even to her children, but in 2003, using speech recognition software, and the help of people who came into her life, she began writing her first book. 5 years later, in 2008, her first book was published in the UK and Ireland. She is now a best-selling author, whose books have been translated into 30 languages. Her last 2 books debuted at #1 in the UK. She is a sought-after public speaker, and a champion of religious and racial unity. She also works to bring about peace, protect the environment, and support children's charities. Lorna's essential message is beautiful, compelling, and reassuring. Although she has retained her Roman Catholic faith, she downplays the distinctions between religions, teaching that there is only one God. According to Lorna, what matters most is an intimate relationship with God and the awareness that each soul has a guardian angel who constantly watches over you. That realization, coupled with spreading love, helping others, and respecting the environment are what matter most. Naturally, people seek to convert her to their particular religion, but her answer is that it isn't necessary, because it's the same God. She believes there should be an umbrella under which all religions are united in prayer to our loving God. She never passes judgment on those who don't believe, but gently proclaims that regardless of belief, all of us have a guardian angel and are the children of a loving God. This video will explore her message from a Baha'i perspective, although I want to make clear that I'm an individual Baha'i and only speak for myself. When I first listened to Lorna Byrne, this passage from a talk given by Abdul-Baha in 1912 immediately came to mind with respect to her.
When Christians act according to the teachings of Christ, they are called Baha'is. For the foundations of Christianity and the religion of Baha'u'llah are one. The foundations of all the divine prophets and holy books are one. The difference among them is one of terminology only. Whoever acts completely in accordance with the teachings of Christ is a Baha'i.
From my perspective, that certainly fits Lorna Byrne. In fact, much of her message is uncannily reminiscent of the Baha'i teachings. Let's take for example her emphasis on the special role of America.
Because America is meant to be the place where this really coming together of all faiths and praying together under the one umbrella. You know, prayer is extremely powerful and it can change the world for the good, for the better. You know, and we forget that in that way. So yes, that's why I was at the mosque and, you know, and praying with them there as well. And just seeing all of the angels, like, you know, it doesn't matter what religion you are. And just seeing all the angels of prayer, every time somebody would start a prayer, it's like as if before it's uttered out of you, you know, the angels of prayer are there. And then as soon as you stop, they're gone, you know, in that second. And you could see this happening, you know, because the place was crowded. It was like switching on lights in one sense, you know, just to help you in that way. And the place was crowded with angels. And where people gather to pray, at different times and on occasions, and it's, or if it's in a church, that place becomes peaceful. And for us all to gather together, to pray together, will help us not to be so afraid of each other, will help to bring peace. Because I know as a Catholic, if a Muslim or a Jewish person came into a Catholic church and started to pray in their way, I know people would be looking at them and would be afraid and saying, what's going on? That's evil, that's bad. And it's not, because they're praying to God. It's for us to get together under that one umbrella and pray together and get to know each other. And from their peace, we realize we don't have to be doing what we're doing. It's just so important, and it's meant to happen in America.
Before I share a passage from Abdul-Baha about America, it's important to give those unfamiliar with him a brief sketch of who he was. He was the son of the founder of the Baha'i faith, the exemplar and authorized interpreter of his father's teaching. Along with his father, he became a prisoner and exile at the age of 9, eventually being imprisoned in Akkar, in which is today Israel. At the age of 64 he was freed from captivity after the revolution of the Young Turks and the fall of the Ottoman Empire. In 1912, when he was 68 years old, he traveled for 9 months in the United States and Canada to proclaim his father's message and visit the nascent Baha'i communities there. Prior to his travels to the West, he had never attended a school, nor faced a public audience, and was unfamiliar with Western customs and languages. Nonetheless, Abdul-Baha captivated the press and the public. He met with some of the most prominent members of society, spoke before thousands of people at universities, Jewish synagogues, black and white churches, peace groups, and women's suffrage events. 4 months prior to Abdul-Baha's arrival in America, a January 12, 1912 article in the New York Daily Tribune reported former President Teddy Roosevelt's thoughts about him. Abdul-Baha had visited Europe and England at the end of 1911, thus it seems President Roosevelt may have read about his visit to Europe in the press. It is actually an impressive display of his knowledge of current events.
Theodore Roosevelt pronounced himself as wonderfully impressed with the teachings of Abdul-Baha, the Persian teacher of a universal religion, just liberated from prison and expected in this country in May. He declared that Abdul-Baha's teachings would lift Mohammedanism up spiritually into line with Christianity and would make for world peace.
There are so many possible passages of Abdul-Baha's talks in America to share, it's impossible to choose. He recognized the unique nature of America with its racial, ethnic, and religious diversity, separated from Europe, Africa, and Asia by vast oceans, and praised its form of government as a model for a unified world. So rather than picking a particular talk, here is a bit of his farewell talk to the American Baha'is on December 5, 1912. Notice how remarkably similar his themes are to the previous clip with Lorna Byrne.
This is my last meeting with you, for now I am on the ship ready to sail away. These are my final words of exhortation. I have repeatedly summoned you to the cause of the unity of the world of humanity, announcing that all mankind are the servants of the same God, that God is the creator of all. He is the provider and life-giver. All are equally beloved by him and are his servants upon whom his mercy and compassion descend. Therefore, you must manifest the greatest kindness and love toward the nations of the world, setting aside fanaticism, abandoning religious, national and racial prejudice. The earth is one native land, one home, and all mankind are the children of one Father. God has created them, and they are the recipients of his compassion. Therefore, if anyone offends another, he offends God. It is the wish of our Heavenly Father that every heart should rejoice and be filled with happiness, that we should live together in felicity and joy. The obstacle to human happiness is racial or religious prejudice, the competitive struggle for existence and inhumanity toward each other. Your eyes have been illumined, your ears are attentive, your hearts knowing. You must be free from prejudice and fanaticism, beholding no differences between the races and religions. You must look to God, for He is the real shepherd, and all humanity are His sheep. He loves them and loves them equally. Direct your whole effort toward the happiness of those who are despondent. Bestow food upon the hungry, clothe the needy, and glorify the humble. Be a helper to every helpless one, and manifest kindness to your fellow creatures in order that ye may attain the good pleasure of God. This is conducive to the illumination of the world of humanity and eternal felicity for yourselves. I seek from God everlasting glory in your behalf, therefore, this is my prayer and exhortation.
Lorna Byrne's point about the importance of people of different faiths coming together to pray is also a central Baha'i teaching. During his time in America, Abdul-Baha took part in a ceremony of laying the foundation stone for the first Baha'i house of worship in Wilmette, Illinois outside of Chicago. Here is a brief passage from his remarks that day.
In brief, the original purpose of temples and houses of worship is simply that of unity, places of meeting where various peoples, different races and souls of every capacity may come together in order that love and agreement should be manifest between them. That is why Baha'u'llah has commanded that a place of worship be built for all the religionists of the world, that all religions, races and sects may come together within its universal shelter.
In the Baha'i faith there are no priests, rabbis, imams, monks, or clergy. There are neither sermons nor preaching in Baha'i houses of worship, rather the worship services consist solely of prayers and readings from the Baha'i sacred writings as well as the holy books of other world religions, such as the Bible, the Quran, Bhagavad Gita, and the teachings of the Buddha. All Baha'i houses of worship have 9 entrances, which symbolize that they are open to people of all faiths. Returning to Lorna Byrne, she also reports that she was been given visions of potential futures, as you will see in this clip.
We have to come together to, under that umbrella, to unify and to bring peace. And, you know, one of the futures I was shown was just so beautiful. You know, I was standing on a mountaintop, kind of looking down into the valley, and I know Angel Michael was there, and I know God was there as well, and I looking down and seeing, I don't know how many thousand people or 100,000 people there were. You know, it was enormous, and they were all down there, all the different religions, because you could tell. I could see the different clothing, you know, what one religion, you know, holds or wears, and looking down and seeing them mingling with each other and being together, and they all praying together in their own way. Like, it was incredible. And just seeing those angels of prayer, you know, it was, I can't put it into words. These people weren't ever again fighting or killing each other, or fighting over God or over material things. Everything was peaceful, everything was good, you know. And I know I tried to describe some of that in the book, but not all of it. But we have to get to that stage, we really do.
That's a real possibility.
It is more than possible.
Listening to Lorna's vision, as a Baha'i, my thoughts were drawn to an event that took place in May of 2001. Nearly 4,000 Baha'is from 170 nations and diverse religious backgrounds gathered for a dedication ceremony at Mount Carmel in Haifa, Israel. Mount Carmel, as you might know, is the holy mountain associated with the prophet Elijah. The hand of destiny brought the founder of the Baha'i faith to Mount Carmel. Authorities banished him from Iran and Iraq to dampen the spread of the Baha'i faith there, sending him to the prison city of Aqqa in what is today Israel. Aqqa is across the bay from Haifa, so during a period of relaxed restrictions by the authorities, Baha'u'llah pitched his tent on Mount Carmel and visited the cave of Elijah. During this time he picked a spot on the mountain and instructed Abdul-Baha that it was here where he was to build a shrine for the remains of the Bab, his forerunner who had been executed decades earlier. Mount Carmel is a sacred spot for Baha'is and the world's center of the Baha'i faith. Baha'is have a vision similar to Lorna Byrne's, in which vast multitudes of Baha'i pilgrims from every racial and religious background will gather and pray on Mount Carmel.
मानस को प्रकाशित कर दे मैं अपने समस्त कार्यकलापों को
и праздных мечтаний силою могущества Господа твоего, Вседержителя.
Mes témoins, ô peuple, je suis venu à vous, porteur d'une révélation du Seigneur votre Dieu, le Seigneur de vos pères. N'attachez pas vos regards sur les choses.
From the other side of the globe, we were honored with greetings from the King of Samoa. His daughter read a message on his behalf.
It is with bowed head that I send you salutations and loving greetings. It is indeed thrilling to think of the many races and peoples, high and low alike, that will gather on this occasion. I and the people of our small island nation wish you every success, praying that we may all, like the rocky slopes of God's holy mountain, undergo a similar transformation inside, so that before long we may see peace and goodwill flourish on earth. Soifua Malietoa Tanumafili II, Head of State, Western Samoa.
Now help me out. Here we go.
It was the spirit of creativity he called out for. Everyone responded so warmly to this gesture. It was a tribute to so many people who gave so much of their best for the success of the celebrations.
Now try and sing good if you can. If you can't sing good, at least sing loud. Okay.
If you made it this far, thanks for watching. If you'd like to learn more, please check the description box.